Hey, Silas here. I'm just walking back from Google. Okay, this is not the street. This is 7th Avenue. Google's on 8th and like 14th or something. Walking back home. I was going to go to Boston today to see what was going to happen up there with the free speech rally, and I'll try to get some clips and stuff from the friends that went up there. But there was a protest down here at Google related to the James Damore memo. There was going to be a group by Jack Prospeak and some other people coming to protest ostensibly for free speech after Google fired James Damore. And then there was a counter protest of people who are protesting against them. Now, walking down here, I was seeing people doing construction work. I'm thinking, okay, that's work. That's a situation where something is being done. Now, I can go into whether it's actually being done in the right way due to it being the government involvement, which I think I'll actually touch on that. There is like government involvement when you're like, okay, that's the situation. But regardless, is you see clearly that there's an issue, there's a pothole in the road, and there's people with machines, there's people digging, there's people with the signs that clearly show you that some work is going on here, some work is being done. That is easy to point at and say, look, work is actually being done there to solve a problem. Now, when you have situations like these protests, these kind of things, you have events where you're wondering, is work being done? Is there actually a problem? Is the problem as easy to identify as if you just look at the road and you see a pothole and you're like, okay, that's a pothole. What you need to do is fill that pothole in. You need this kind of machine to come. You need this number of people to come. And whether it's done through the government or whether it's done through other means, whether it's done in a certain time, this time it's done, that's a whole nother question of how it gets done. But I think it's a lot easier to see those problems, identify those problems, and go out there and work against the problems. Now, when you have a situation where it's a political situation, how do you know what's being done? How do you identify the problem? It's not that simple to identify as a pothole in the ground. The solution is definitely not that simple. It's also not that simple to know when the work is done or what is actually working. You're not filling up that hole slowly by slowly. So when you go to an event like this, when you have some people saying they're there because it's a KKK thing, people are chanting things about Nazis, what do you get to the situation? How do you actually know something is being done, something is being solved, some actual improvement is being had? And I'm going back to this 15, 55 group. 15% of people are on one end. They're always going to be here. They're always going to be pro this. 15% are always going to be against this. 55% in the middle are just not going to really care about that issue. And then there's 15% that can go either way. And I think that's the 15% that actually I'm trying to reach. And occasionally at these kind of events, I go out there and you actually end up having some pretty good conversations with people. And that's the 15%. On TV, you normally see the loud people on the other edges, the extremes, and I think those are the people that are easier to package and show, look, this is what this is about, by taking the 15% of the people who are against it, who won't broach even discussing the topic, and the 15% on the other side who won't broach even that topic being wrong. So yeah, it's going to be clips, and then at the end I had this really good conversation with this guy, Mikey Triggered. There's going to be links in the low bar for his video. After the conversation, that's going to be at the end of the clips. And yeah, till next video, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.
So this was outside of Google. I was kind of just recording around to see what people were doing. There's some Google employees there. And there's other people just looking and wondering what's going on. Ended up talking to this guy over here.
Why this location?
Okay, I think earlier there was supposed to be, you heard about the Google memo, right?
Oh, no, I haven't.
There's a writer, there was one of the engineers in Google named James Damore.
Yes,
He wrote the thing, then it got released, and then he was fired a few weeks ago, a week and a half ago. And then there was a group led by Jack Prospeak, and I think he's an independent reporter, and a few other people. They had planned a march on Google to kind of, with free speech, and say he was fired because he shared his opinion, and that's why he was fired. And then I guess this group considers that to be somewhat hateful, so they were coming, from what I've read, they were coming to be protesting against Jack
Jack Prospect and that group because Jack Prospect is he's being labeled as alt-right, and they're saying that everyone in the alt-right involved were in Charlottesville. So there's this whole back and forth.
Has it been taken back by Google?
No, he hasn't been taken back. And the actual march on Google, that group, I just talked to somebody and they told me they had to cancel that because there was threats of driving a car into that protest, so they didn't even show up. But they decided to show up anyway.
So this demonstration is basically telling Google to stay firm and
I don't know because I guess they're in support of the firing, but then I don't know. I personally don't really care about the firing.
So her body, her choice. This chant is a pro-choice thing having to do with abortion. But interestingly enough, with James Damore, he was talking about the different choices that men and women make that affect their work, both the work they do and the quality of work and the type of jobs they do. So you think a group where they're pro-choice, where they recognize that yes, the woman has choice over what she does with her body, they would also understand that that same choice possibly affects the jobs she takes, the occupations, the STEM fields, or people honking as people pass by. There was somebody with a sign for honk to get Trump out. Now Who Run the World, Girls. This is from a Beyonce song, and these are the parts that really seem odd to me. If this is a political event where you're saying this is a serious thing, where you jump from Nazis, fascists, racists, very serious things, to these poppy sort of things, and that really, it doesn't sit well with me. It really disturbs me how they can just jump through that, and that kind of shows how it's not necessarily, it may be more of a poppy thing to them. Again, what I'm saying on the poppy thing, if it's really a revolution, are you sitting out there dancing and enjoying like this? One thing I've always found odd in African politics, specifically in Kenya, is how the politicians will go out there and dance at political events. They're giving a political speech about policy, then they get out and they play music and have this dance. And I always found it very odd. And I see that here as people are dancing ostensibly about policy, about political issues. And maybe the American politicians themselves give their own dance, but in a different way. It's a more choreographed, behind the scenes, when they go on Ellen show and they do these things, and I hadn't seen them as much. Coming up, I ended up overhearing somebody say they think KKK was going to come here. Then I started asking people why they were here.
Somebody there had mentioned something about KKK coming. They had announced, and then I asked the man over here with the cardboard sign. He said it was about people protesting the James Damore thing.
There was going to be KKK, or I think it was a KKK, they were going to protest Google for firing him, but that protest got canceled. But
Why would KKK want to protest that?
protest Google for firing James Damore.
Why would the KKK
white supremacy. I don't know, man.
Okay. You read the memo?
I haven't read the memo myself. No.
Okay. So you have no opinion on whether he should be fired or not?
With regards to Google, my opinion isn't very informed. I'm not really here for the. I support women in tech and all that. I'm here more for the anti-Nazi, anti-white supremacy, anti-KKK men.
Okay, but you still don't understand the connection of why KKK would want to be involved in this.
Well, the KKK, I don't know if it's KKK or a white supremacist movement or like the Nazis. It's some organizer. I'm not here for that particular portion though.
Okay. Alright, thanks.
Yeah, I can get one of those organizers over here. She has more information about that element. I'm here for the, like I said, the anti-fascist portion. Guys.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna grab someone.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, so this was supposed to be a counter-protest to, bye, have a great evening. This was supposed to be a counter-protest to Jack Posobiec's March on Google, but the March on Google ended up getting canceled. We decided to come out here anyway. The organizers, we posted on the page that despite the March on Google being canceled, we are going to continue our counter-protest because it's bigger than James Damore and his 10-page anti-diversity memo. It's the general air of anti-diversity in the country, you know.
Did you read the memo?
Yeah.
Okay. What, any parts of it in particular you didn't like?
Any parts in particular that I didn't like? Well, he made these unbelievable claims that women are neurotic and prone to anxiety, that men are more likely to strive for success and leadership positions. He pretty much tried to claim that women can't handle those types of positions and tried to claim that all of this is a science. He pretty much stated a bunch of stereotypes, gender roles, like negative stereotypes about women, and tried to claim that it was science.
So the thing here, she was nice enough to come and talk to me, so I didn't want to push the topic too much. I mean, I was kind of thinking I should probably push back on some of these assertions she's making, but I just wanted to find out why she was there, what she thought she was doing there. Because in many cases, when you talk to someone, you find out it's not just the surface appearance of what they're there, but something else deeper in there that I'm trying to see if they can communicate that to me, and then I can share that to you guys,
Negative stereotypes.
instead of just going on the assumptions that I have.
Not just talking about people of color, people in marginalized groups. It's about fighting for our rights and, you know, pretty much fighting to claim that we are just as capable, if not even more so, than people like James Damore that think that we aren't.
You see, we are just as capable and yet more so. But if you're more so, doesn't that make you superior?
The state of Daventry, Charlottesville, Charlottesville, there are a bunch of different protests happening. Like what's going on in Boston. I heard there's something else going on in Washington Square Park. So, you know, of course.
Now, of course, there is a bit of a narrative I'm trying to give here, tell you a story of my experience at this place, but how do they go from that Black Lives Matter thing, the things she was saying, to Trump is a Nazi? How do you just call somebody a Nazi without actual evidence? And then you see how people are just walking in nonchalantly during a Nazi chant. Then this other guy walks in with the white silence equals death thing, doing the "this is what democracy looks like" thing. He's welcomed by the people there. And you can tell it's not just the protest, but also the camaraderie that's there. So I was back here posted out with my sketchbook, and different people came up to talk to me, and I talked to a few other people. I'll have more of those clips on the Trump Train to Magaland, links in the low bar, but let me get to the end of one long conversation I had.
And you might want to identify this is the best time I've ever been alive. That's not the argument. It's about who you are. Where else, what other time would you want to live in?
Living right now in this present time.
I wouldn't want to live any other time. I can't think of
I don't know. I can't say how people back say when this whole thing was like it was purely Native Americans, how they lived off the land and how they lived for many years.
You're saying
you have a lot of people.
Yes, you're making a value judgment, saying that when white people came, it became
why are you
worse.
defending white
No,
people?
you said when white people came, it became worse. Yet now I'm asking you, would you rather live back then? You're saying you can't say how life was then. So how can you make a value judgment that it was made worse after the arrival of white people if you can't even judge if that was a good time to be alive? So would you rather be alive back then than today?
Today?
Yes.
So
get that on film?
Pre-communist.
You would rather live on pre-colonial America
Pre-colonial, yes.
than today.
Pre-colonial America, non-racist.
Then why don't you
non-white
just move
supremacist,
to
you
some?
know,
Why don't you just move to like a desert
because I
somewhere or
live-
like a
because I live
plane
here,
somewhere?
and I have to defend my community away from racism.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks. I mean, because that's the thing. Like
I'm not.
when you delve deeper into some of these topics, you find like some things don't necessarily connect. So I'm kind of wondering why people are making such strong demands on certain
Let me
things.
ask you a question. Yes. So you feel that people were civilized before like arrival of the European?
I have me.
All right. I'm saying you're from the continent of Africa.
Yes, and the continent of Africa
feel
also
that-
counts North Africa, which is essentially the Middle East. It has sub-Saharan Africa. It has like
bro, you feel that it was better before Europeans got there and invaded that?
I already said, I clearly said, I get this on film too. Today is the best time to be alive anywhere else. And I think most people can also agree that America is the best country to be alive in. Quality of life for black people, Asian people, anyone, it's better in America than in other countries.
The argument I'm trying to make here is colonialism and the past in general was really horrible. Part of the reason the past of Europe is considered the most horrible is because we know the most about it. But right now, how is the world? How is America today?
Arguing about this here versus going back to separate countries. I'm not continuing this. We're not going back.
So why are we here? Why are we having these conversations? Somebody came up here right after, and I'm going to get into his video soon. I had an interview with him. I interviewed for his YouTube channel as well. But we're out here having these conversations because we think something better will come from it.
And this is probably one of the best countries I've ever been alive in. I think that's why we're here having this protest. That's why the other people are here protesting. I think we're all thinking there's a problem. We want it to get better, but I don't think we agree on solutions. We all agree on.
So we're going to get into that video next here. But before, I just had this little thought. After I was done, after the thing cleared out, after I had this interview I'm about to load, somebody came up to me and had a talk with me. She was on the left, and we just had a pretty decent conversation about why you go to events like this, why do people talk, why do some people just have points where they just think, okay, we're not going to understand each other. But she also had mentioned, how come these Trump supporters, she pointed at the two guys in the red out there, come out to these counter protests instead of starting their own event, whereas this event in and of itself was a counter protest to Trump supporters, because Jack Prosovic and the alt-righters, as they were called, were Trump supporters. So even they were here to begin with for that. The big thing in Boston right now ended up being stopped because thousands of leftists came there.
Silas here. I'm here with.
My name is Mike Triggs, but I'm known online as Mikey Triggered, for short, or for long, I guess you want to say. YouTube.com/Mikey Triggered.
Links will be in the low bar.
Alrighty.
Okay, we're here at the counter protest at Google headquarters. That's at Google in New York, and gonna be a video with just the different clips and about this. But here I found Mikey and just did an interview. I also have links to his channel and my interview with him. And this is what I'm saying. The positive aspect of this is that we have situations like this, and we just have people coming around recording this and communicating. We had a couple of debates there. He's been recording film. There's tons of other channels out there where you can actually record stuff. So what got you to decide to start doing this?
Just hostility in politics right now. I'm a constitutional conservative. These people hate my politics. I hate their politics. I think we just have different ways. We have disagreements on politics. I don't hate them as humans. I'll go grab a beer with them after. What made me want to do this is pretty much restoring civil discourse in America. I mean, all we do is shout and screaming at each other, and we just, hurt each other at this point. You saw what happened in Charlottesville and in Boston today. All we're doing is throwing shit at each other. Just, it's all anger, and I think we need to start having more of a conversation in this country because we're not getting anything done just by screaming. I mean, that's protected by the First Amendment, no argument, but what is it really doing? You're just chanting fascism, 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 and you're not talking to the opposite side. My point is, let's have a conversation. I don't agree with your politics, but let's talk on specific policies, and maybe we'll work together, maybe we'll agree on something.
Yeah, how many of these sort of events have you been to?
This is probably my fifth, I'd say, fifth in New York City. I live in New York City, so this is my, I just strictly stay in New York City. So, I mean, yeah.
And have you had any conversations or any effect like that you feel, okay, I'm glad I'm doing this? What's a moment you can think of where you're like, either you had a video up or you had a conversation or something, an occasion that you thought that kind of gave you some extra, like, yeah, this is good, let me continue doing this?
Giving me encouragement.
Yeah.
Just recently on my channel, I put up like an 18-minute debate with a progressive in Union Square Park, where didn't agree on politics. Well, we were actually, going back and forth, and we were actually meeting eye to eye on stuff. And after the interview, the guy was saying to me, even though you're a conservative, like I agree with, like, you're making me want. He actually said it in the video. He said, you're making me want to, learn about our core values and everything. And like, it's kind of like, it makes me want to pretty much change these folks' opinions, because I think a lot of these folks are misguided. So, and also just the civil discourse. A lot of people in the comment section, they appreciate the civil discourse, and that's what we need in this country, peaceful discourse. So whenever people compliment me on how I'm, conducting my videos, on how I'm getting, I'm getting different opinions, that makes me want to do more, and that makes me want to go out and talk to different opinions.
Yeah, I have this going theme where I've realized that different things happen for the same reasons, and the same things happen for different reasons. For example, like, we both showed up here for different reasons, and I think these people here protesting are result of different things occurring for the same reason of the James Damore protest. The James Damore memo. So when it comes to that, how much do you think it will take for there to be an understanding? That's not the actual question. No, the actual question I should go for is, look, when you get to a situation like this, most people, as you said, are just there to just be heard, just to yell and be there with other people. Then you have the few people who are willing to actually converse and talk. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the few people who are there for violent needs. And that's on both ends of the spectrum.
Amen, yeah.
That's on left, right, up, down, wherever you go.
Yes.
Why do you think that certain groups, in this case, the right, violence from whatever is considered the right, is considered more of a problem?
On the right?
Or why is it focused on more?
Here's the thing. It's because the mainstream media is run by, the 5 big companies, 6 big companies, whatever it is, and they're all they all have an agenda, the same agenda, and they paint everybody on the right. What happened in Charlottesville, I'm a constitutional conservative. So these folks, when I say I'm a conservative, they think I'm in the same category as the alt-right. And what happened in Charlottesville, because CNN and MSNBC, the only mainstream media outlets that they get their news from.
Yeah.
So they think that everybody on the right is in the same category. They hate blacks, they hate Jews, they hate all these folks, and that's not the truth. I'm a conservative, not alt-right, and I've condemned the white supremacy. I've condemned that. And what happens here is they condemn. The difference between a conservative and a leftist is a conservative will condemn the white supremacists and the white nationalists and the Antifa and the other radical leftists. But the leftists, they won't condemn Antifa, but they'll condemn the white supremacists.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. They'll actually think that Antifa's the heroes now. So that's what I've been seeing.
Yeah, there was a CNN video. I might link to that. I don't like linking to CNN, but I might do that. There was a video doing a little expose on it. And that's the odd thing. What do you think is the result of this is going to be? People like you, me, the countless of other people we see at these events out there actually recording and getting information to people in its rawest form, I guess, without really... we all have our biases, of course, but we have the ability to just have the video directly that we recorded, and you put it there and you can see things from different angles. What do you think the effect of that's going to be, and how long?
I'm hoping the effect is that people join me and join folks like you and just start having a conversation no matter where you are in the political spectrum. And I want people to start going to these rallies and going to these protests and talking to one another, communicating with one another, grabbing a beer after with one another, being Americans. That's what we lose. Like, to me, for them, they think I'm a foreigner because I just have a different belief, and that's not the case. We're all Americans. We're all born here. Some of these people are illegal, but yeah, that's what my hope is. I hope the main goal is I get people to start going to these rallies and having civil discourse like me and you are doing right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's it. Yeah, Serious Silas and Mikey Triggered. This is going to be on. It's going to be on my main channel, Dying Live, but I'll have a link to his material on Trump Train to Magaland project, because he's going to be filming these events, and I just want a collection of people filming raw video and coming from these political events, because there was this saying, you may not care about politics, but politics cares about you, so you might as well care about it, because it's going to affect
politics affects your life directly. These politicians directly, this is your life. I mean, there's no disputing that.
Yeah. All right. So like, share, and subscribe. Mikey Triggered. There'll be links in the low bar. And thanks.
So that was it. That was me and Mikey Triggered at the end there. I did an interview for him as well, so there'll be links in the low bar to his channel. You can see what he talked to me about. But thanks for watching this video. Until next video, like, share, and subscribe once more. Thanks again. Goodbye.